Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to Card Making Project 581 using our gorgeous Anna Griffin supplies. Now today's card we're going to do some paper cutting. We're not using any dies, we're using a handful of the Anna Griffin items in our stash. But this is more about paper cutting and what you can do that's slightly different. I think you'll like this card and it's very adaptable, so you could change it to suit whatever occasion you wanted to use it for. Everything I do use I should put in a detailed list on my blog, so please be sure to check it out. I'll also include photos of the inside and the outside, and for any new crafters, please check my blog because you know what, there's so many more projects on there. Lots of details, lots of information, lots of how-tos as well. So go back through all the pictures and scroll down and you will see lots of the techniques, etc., that will just help you on your journey in your creative life, basically. So please, today, sit back, relax, and let's have a look at today's gorgeous project. For today's tutorial, I've used one stamp set from Anna Griffin, and it's the Floral Tags and Sentiment stamp set, and I've used the thank you stamp that's on the actual set. Now, believe it or not, I've not used any dies or embossing folders for this card. So if you don't have this stamp set, don't panic, you would be able to substitute it. It's only because it's got the word thank you in it and we're making a gorgeous thank you card. You would be able to change your card to suit the occasion that you're using it, so you'd be able to substitute the stamp if you don't have it. So that's the item that we're using. However, it's all about paper cutting and positioning is this card. So the first thing that I need is my base card, and I'm using a 6x6 inch square card in an ivory base. I've already used my handmade by stamp on the back, added my name and the project number, and I'm going to use my bone folder from the Anna Griffin tool collection to make sure I've got a nice sharp crease on the top of the card. And I say the top of the card because we're going to have the fold to the top. So the first thing that we're going to do is create the inside of the card. So I've taken a piece of ivory cardstock that matches the actual card blank itself, and I've just touched the edge with a green ink pad. Could be any colour that suits the papers, it just so happens that I've used a green one, and it could be any kind of ink pad. I know Anna's got some gorgeous ink pads, and in the UK we don't always get Anna's ink pads, so you could use a distress ink, something like that, that's going to tone in. I've got flat double-sided tape on the back of the card layer, and I've cut it to just 5.8 by 5.8 inches so that it fits just inside the card and sits as a nice neat insert, and you can just see the inking around the edge. Next, for the front of the card, we've used one of the 6x6 perfect pattern card blank bases, and I've actually done some paper cutting on it. Now the squares that I've cut out are the squares that we're going to use for the inside of the card. So I've cut them out of the front. I actually used a craft knife, but if you prefer scissors, you use scissors. And I'm going to add them, I've got flat tape on the back, and I'm going to add them diagonally in the diamond shape just to one side of the card. So I'm adding 1, 2, and then in the centre I'll add the third one. Now I've added the outside 2 first, just for a little bit of positioning, because I know the inside one is going to overlap them just slightly. So I can place the third one on. Then I've stamped, this is where I've used the Floral Tags rubber stamps from Anna. I've stamped out the word thank you in the same ink that I've used to use around the edge, and I've cut it out. I've got flat tape on the back of it, and I am simply going to position it through the centre and add that just slightly underneath one of the diamonds, which is the centre one. So that can sit there. Now on the front of the paper, we're using the Bohemian paper, and it has a design on it with these gorgeous floral emblems, and kind of like a plume. Now what I've done is, for the inside of the card, we're going to do it for the outside as well, but I've cut some of the emblems out on their own, and I've just got them on flat tape. I've cut out 3, 2 pink and 1 green, so I know the green is going to go in the centre, and I'm just going to position it over the top of the diamond. Then I'm going to do the same with the 2 pink ones, and take the back of the tape away and add the 2 pink ones, just following on from the green one in the centre. And there we go, we can add the last one, the pink at the top, there. And that's our insert complete. That's going to match perfectly to the outside. We've got lots of room for our to and from message, and it's still quite flat, so we're not adding any extra height for our insert, because I know sometimes we do. This card, I think, even though the colours are mainly pink and green, I think it would still be a good one for the guys, because it's not over floral, but it's still got those gorgeous muted tones. You would be able to change, you know, the colour tones depending on the paper that you use. So if you were to find maybe a different background, things like that, you would be able to change the tones. But I don't think it's going to upset anybody for being pink and green, even though they're a guy. So that's the inside of our card. I'm just going to use the bone folder to make sure we've got a nice sharp crease along the edge still. And then we can turn our attention to the front. So I've taken one of the Bohemian card papers from the collection from Anna. I've cut it to fit the actual outside of the card, so it's going to cover the entire card. I've got double-sided tape on the back of it. I'm just turning the card so that I can see where I am placing it over the front to get it on nice and straight. There we go. And it looks beautiful already. So next, I'm going to put that to one side, and I want to just talk about this for a moment. I've cut this out from one of the Perfect Pattern card blanks from Anna, and I've taken away the back of the card, so I'm just using the front of it, and I've cut out the centre 4 squares or diamonds. I've cut out the edges just to give it a little bit of interest. Now I've got 3D foam on the back, and I want to explain why it looks like there's a lot. The inner squares have got 3D foam on them because we're going to add interest underneath each window. So we're going to add one of the little embellishments that we've cut out for the inside. I've cut these onto squares so they will sit underneath each of the open squares. Now at home you would only put your 3D foam around each one as you do it, and you would do it flat onto the desk to pick it up to make sure you've got it in position. I'm doing it in mid-air because this is all prepped ready to stick on the front, and it will stick to my desk if I don't. So I'm simply positioning it underneath that aperture that we've cut into the card layer. And then I'll just do the final one and pop this in place. There we go. Hopefully get that in position. So now you can see that the foam pads around the edge are double height because we've got now double height in the centre, because there's foam pads on the backs of the actual squares of the embellishments that we've just put on. So they will then, in turn, now sit on our card front. So I can position this through the centre and press it down. So you can now see the shadow between the layers of the apertures that you've cut out from the card front. Next, I've cut out 8 of the pattern floral, I'm saying embellishments, it's like a floral plume. So I've cut 8 of these out, and I've put these on 3D foam, and I've cut out alternate pink and green like we did for the inside, and I'm simply positioning them onto the diamonds that we've cut out to add extra interest to the front of the card. So that's a green one. I'm putting them on alternate colours. The last one is the green one, like that. I'm trying to keep them in roughly a straight line. And then the sentiment I've got is from the mini flower and sentiment stickers from Anna. And it just says thank you. And instead of using it as a sticker, I've put 3D foam on the back of it. And I'm just going to pop that in the centre, like that. And then, now, if you were sending this to a guy, you could maybe put a green bow on, or a grey silver bow. I'm going to add a pink bow, and I've just got that on 3D foam, little bit of tape in the middle, because I don't quite know where it's going to catch on my card. So I'm hoping it's going to catch at either side, and I can press that down, and that's our card finished. Now, it looks really complicated, but as you've seen the steps, it isn't. There's only 3 layers on there in actual fact, because we've got the base, then the shadow, and then the top. So it'll still go in a normal envelope. And I just like the contrast. It's very different, and you see how it would work for everyone, really. And you would be able to change the occasion to suit whatever occasion you needed it for. And I just think the inside works perfectly. I always put flowers on everything nearly, and this is just so beautiful, and it's classic paper crafting with paper cutting. And I hope you like this one as much as I do. Stands up nicely. It's definitely going to be a keeper, and I do like the colours. I keep looking at the colours and the contrast, and it just all works so well. Please check my blog, because there'll be more photos on there and more, well, the detailed list of all the ingredients that we've used. Even though we've not used many for this, it's just the stamps and then the cardstock. So I think it's a good card to try if you're wanting to just step a little further away from your card kits and things. Let me know what you think. Is this something that you would try? I hope so. I hope you enjoy the videos. I love making them for you. So please check the blog and let me know what you think. And I would just like to say thank you so much for watching. I shall see you next time.